Hello, my Patreon patrons. This reaction is just for you and nobody else in the world. It's an exclusive, I guess they call these kinds of things. This is Grace Vanderwaal doing evidently just completely creating a story about a bird from what I could tell. I got this off of, this was part of a 2 hour Instagram live post that she did a couple of days ago. And then my YouTube subscriber, Sam Borgman, who has a channel, put this up on his channel. He clipped this out of the IG Live. And I was notified about this by my Patreon patron, Mike Ogden. So thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate that. And I thought this might be kind of fun. I looked at a few of the comments. I haven't seen any of this. I looked at a few of the comments, and they said they were blown away by Grace's creativity. And from what I could tell, she just creates this out of thin air. I mean, so that's really interesting. It's what I used to do with my daughter. I would create stories about dinosaurs walking down our street and stuff like that. So Grace is probably better at it than me, but I just thought this would be a lot of fun. The link to Sam Borgman's YouTube posting on this, I'll put in my comment section. But this is one of the reasons I created my Patreon account. I wanted to do different things that are not just about music, some of the creative things that entertainers do. And so I can't wait to see what Grace is going to do. As usual, I may stop it many times to just make a comment about what kind of just interesting stuff there is. So this is 14 minutes, and let's watch Grace do her thing, create a story. Here we go.
Read us a bedtime story. Okay.
I just want to say real quick, I like the fact that her hair is growing out. It has kind of a wild look to it, but it's not as stark as when it's just shaved completely.
So, there was this bird, and he was in his nest, and he had just there was a bird, and he was a baby bird, and he had just hatched, but he wasn't ready to fly yet. And he looked up, and there was his mom, but then his mom left, to get food. And so the bird was like a little bit of a late bloomer, and okay, and all of his brothers.
Did you see that comment somebody put on there? She just slapped herself. LMAFO. That's funny. Here, let me back it up so we don't miss anything here.
Okay, and all of his brothers and sisters had already spread their wings, and they were ready to fly with his mom. So he was all alone in the nest, bored out of his mind.
Sound like somebody?
Hours and hours were going by. He had nothing to do, and he was just thinking, damn.
This bird sounds like a metaphor for Grace Vanderwaal's existence during COVID, right?
Damn, really wish I were like my brothers and sisters, and I was just normal, and I could just open my wings and fly with all of them. Like,
Hello.
Why did God make me like this? Like, why? You know what I'm saying? And so he was like, you know what? If I just put my mind to this, I can probably fly right out of this fucking nest.
Okay, this sounds so much. I know I said it a second ago, but this sounds like a complete metaphor for Grace herself. Whether she's meaning to do that or not, but I just think it's really interesting that this is what comes to her brain. I know when I used to create stories for my daughter, it was that way too. It was like my life's existence would come out in the story.
You know what I'm saying? Just whoosh, like, I've seen them do it, and it doesn't look that hard, said the bird.
Yeah, said the bird.
So he walked his little toothpick legs to the edge of his nest.
Like that.
He poked his head over, and he saw this big, wide world below him, and
Somebody asked a question, why does the bird talk? I was thinking the same thing.
he just couldn't wait to just fly fly and just be with his family and see it all. So he takes a breath and he says, I got this. And he jumps. He falls.
I've seen that many times.
Because he can't fly yet, and flying doesn't work like that. You know? You have to be physically ready to fly as a bird, and he's not in that stage of bird puberty yet. So he fell, and he hit the ground, and and now he's hurt. And so then he's like, fuck, I gotta find my family, said the bird. So he lifts up his wings and he starts army crawling. He's crawling and he's crawling and he's putting his mind to it.
I love how visual her mind is, how she comes up with just the right phrasing. He's army crawling. Boy, that image of the elbows going out, or wings in this case going out, is a superb image. She's just a craftsman, isn't she?
Hours go by. The sun is burning on him. It's like an old Western movie. He squints his eyes. He's looking around. No water in sight.
That's funny. Yeah.
His mouth.
Somebody just posted, wow, the bird becomes a rock star. I'm loving these comments also. She's so creative.
It's getting drier and drier. And he's thinking, why did I ever leave my comfort zone? You know, like, why did I ever do that, said the bird. That was the stupidest decision I've ever fucking made, said the bird. Now he's getting bitter. Nighttime is rolling around.
Notice how she's composing this as if she's actually writing the story. I mean, she keeps saying, said the bird. It's really interesting to watch Grace's creative process in motion. I mean, spontaneously in motion. It's just, this is really good. And we're only 4 minutes in. Wow.
All of a sudden, he's getting cold. He's like, damn, I don't have any feathers yet. I'm so stupid. That's why I can't fly. And so he goes to sleep. He wakes up. It's the next day. And when he opens his eyes, what? Oh shit, it wasn't a dream.
Isn't that so cool how she gave us the visual on that? That was really freaking cool. Let's back that up and watch how she does that. She just spontaneously did that. I would have never have thought to do that. But Grace is so visual. This is impressive.
When he opens his eyes,
wow.
What? Oh shit, it wasn't a dream, said the bird.
Said the bird.
And when he opens his eyes, all he sees is an old, wise-looking snapping turtle standing right before him. He goes, who are you? And can you help me? He says, only you can help you.
Oh, man.
Turns around ever so slowly and starts walking away. But the bird needs help. So he goes, no, who are you? He says, name's Pedro. You look like you're a long way from home, said Pedro. The bird said, yeah, and I'm hungry as fuck. And I'm gonna die. And I please God, I need your help. Can you not be a bitch right now? Cause I really can't deal with that, okay?
Did she give the bird a name? It's like the bird doesn't have a name, hasn't flowered into, I don't know my name. The bird is anonymous so far, I think, but she immediately gives the snapping turtle a name, Pedro, which is hilarious. That's terrific. I find that interesting. Oh, in fact, look at this. Somebody says, "What's the bird's name, though?" So she hasn't given the bird a name. I think that's interesting. This whole thing is such a metaphor for grace. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but this is really kind of astounding in a way.
I can't deal with that right now. Whatever your name was, Pedro. So Pedro was like, hop on the back, kid. I'll take you where you need to go. The bird was so happy, but just as he was about to get on Pedro's back, he hears something. The bird says, wait, what was that? He heard it again. He looks
She's cracking herself up. I love this.
up and it's a vulture. It's a vulture. I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat you alive, bitch. All
I mean, boy, she's creating a story here, folks. I mean, I'm enthralled. Where's this going to go, Grace? I sure hope it has a happy ending. You know, you got the little bird without feathers who doesn't have a name sitting on top of Pedro, the snapping turtle, and a vulture is hungry and cacaoing it around. This is a good story. Wow.
of a sudden, there's seven of them. They're circling, they're circling. So the bird says, Pedro, let me hop on your back. I'm injured because I thought I could fly. Pedro says, what do you mean you thought you could fly? You're an underdeveloped, prepubescent, little worthless bird. And he says, the bird says, there's no time for this type of talk right now. I know it was stupid. I need to get on your back right now. We have to get out of, I'm hungry. We need to get out of here. So he crawls on to Pedro's back and he's, go, go, go. All of a sudden, he realizes that Pedro moves like this. Go, Pedro, we have to go. I'm going as fast as I can, my dude. Can't go any faster than... I'm swooping in. I'm gonna eat you. Can't go any faster than this, my dude.
She is so freaking amazing. She's an amazing storyteller. I'm enraptured.
Bird is caught. He is flying on a vulture. He just sees Pedro getting smaller and smaller. It went in a flash. He's in shock. What even just happened? His life is moving as a movie scene. He doesn't even hear the sound of the wind anymore. Just silence. He sees himself panning up as if it was a camera angle in a movie. He's just seeing Pedro get smaller and smaller. He's given up.
Wow. I mean, she is completely into this. Her visual expression is just off the charts. It's really good.
He's given up. Was it the starvation? Was it the dehydration? We'll never know. As he's flying over what used to be his comforting and beautiful home, he can't help but think back to just 2 days ago when he was a happy, healthy bird. He had just held his mother. He was looking at that same world, yet it was so different. It was filled with so much opportunity, love, adventure, and unknowingness that he was willing to explore. What a world. It was so different, yet exactly the same. If only he had known back then that now he'd be flying on the back of a bitch vulture looking at that exact same world alone and hungry and about to die.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I think somebody on here said this is the best bedtime story they've ever heard. I mean, it's wow. Wow. I sure hope this has a good ending, Gracie. Come on now. Drop that bird into the nest or something, damn it, vulture.
Just then, he gets dropped in his nest.
Get
He
out.
looks up.
Get out. Wow. Wow. I swear I have not seen this. That's just where I wanted it to go. Wow. That's amazing. I'm so glad she did that. Man.
He sees the bird. He's ready to die. He sees the clampers getting closer and closer. He doesn't care anymore. He doesn't even know what's going on anymore. Is this heaven? Am I already dead? Said the bird. He looked at the vulture and he spoke out loud. Am I dead? Is this heaven? Said the bird.
Wow.
The vulture didn't say anything. He just looked deeply in his eyes, a look that bird has never quite seen before.
Is the vulture the music industry? Is this whole thing a subconscious metaphor? Grace goes out of the nest too fast, doesn't know who she is, and the vultures are around. The snapping turtle is her family, both good and sometimes not so good, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe I'm making too much out of this. Maybe it's just a story she came up with. But the
And he just stared back. He didn't say anything. He just looked right back at him, lying in his nest. How did that vulture even know where he lived? Was it a guardian angel in disguise?
Interesting.
Why did I even think I was gonna die? But all of this just lives in his head, and he just stares into the vulture's eyes.
That's interesting. I hadn't actually seen it from that perspective. Um, I thought it was an accident that the vulture dropped the bird and the bird fell into the nest. But the way she went with it was more benevolent and more of sort of a guardian angel type thing. That's really interesting that she did that.
And the vulture seems so wise, like he wants to say something, but he seems like he doesn't even need to say it at all. He flies away in what seems like slow motion, each flap of his wings going a graceful fan, jetting him higher into the sky as he silently and gracefully flies off into the now third day of the little bird's adventure.
She has turned this vulture into essentially an eagle. She's made the vulture benevolent and beautiful and graceful. That's really interesting.
And the bird's just staring at the trees, in shock of what just happened. His mother and his brother, sister, they all come home. They can't believe he's alive. They shower him in kisses. But it's just like the bird just looks forward. Who was that vulture?
You know how she does that with her face? She puts her fingers up and it's just like showing the sort of um, weary, sort of blurred perception of the bird at that moment. Let's watch her do that again with her hands.
And kisses. But it's just like the bird just looks forward.
Interesting.
Who was that vulture? Why did he let me have a second chance? Where's Pedro?
Ah, that's nice.
But all in all, he looked at his mom. He said, I missed you. And just then, his mother said, little bird, little bird, little bird, you are ready. You can fly. Look at yourself. Just then, the bird said, what? He looks down at his feathers. He had been so distracted. He looks at his siblings. I look just like you, said the bird, covered in beautiful feathers of every single color. He went to that same ledge of the nest, still filled with fear, opened his wings, and he flew. He soared, in fact. And that is the story of The bird. Thank you so much. I genuinely just put a lot into that story.
Before she keeps going, I'll go ahead and watch more of this just to see what else is on here because Sam obviously felt like it was important enough to keep this extra minute and a half on here. But this may be actually the greatest, if you want to call it children's story. This may be the greatest children's story I'm aware of. I think it is. And it's such a happy ending. It's got such a grace ending. But the genius of this story, the metaphors for life, for all of our lives when we're younger, we all of us jump out of the nest too fast on something. For me, it was sports and a few other things. But this was this this was so creative, so visual, so poetic in moments. Even the soundtrack on this, what Grace did with her voice and her hand movements, and that time with looking out of the bird's eyes, and Pedro and her and the bird thinking back. I wonder where Pedro is. I mean, it's so sweet and yet so dangerous and such a surprise. The vulture actually being a benevolent spirit. I mean, it's just really, this is great storytelling. This is great spontaneous writing in one's head. Said the bird. Wow. All right, let's see what else she has to say. A minute and 40 seconds left. We'll watch this. She almost looks like she's about to sort of tear up a little bit about her own story. I don't know.
Hope that it helped you go to sleep. Hope you learned a
How sweet. All right, what is it that she hopes we learned?
lesson from it. There was lots of lessons.
Wow. 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 So she's doing this for her subscribers? If that's the case, this is a metaphor. This is a metaphor for life, for young life. I mean, what the hell else can you say about Grace Vanderwaal? She's such a benevolent human being, such a giving spirit. Wow. Just wow. She's that vulture. The benevolent vulture. She kind of looks like one a little bit now with her hair, right? But she's that benevolent spirit. Maybe doesn't always look like one, but she is one. I mean, this, again, maybe I'm reading too much into it. Y'all let me know. This is phenomenal.
In that story of mine,
You know what? I just want to say also real quick, this story may get picked up. Somebody may pick up, a publisher may pick up this story. And if they do, they better damn well put Grace Vanderwaal on there as the author. And don't change a speck of it.
what happened to Pedro? We'll never know what happened to Pedro. Sequel for Pedro, that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
Someone said I just joined. What happened? Oh, babe. You're behind. Hold on. I have to sneeze. Anyways, was that all off the top of your head? Yes, that was improv.
Wow.
I'm very proud. Thank you.
Wow.
Anyways, I think we're gonna go now because it's literally 3 a.m. and that's weird. Thank you for all saying bless you. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed my story of the little bird, and I need to brush my teeth too. And anyways, yeah, I just saw a really scary comment that scared me, and now I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping. So, bye, besties.
Okay. I'll just back it up just a little bit so we can see her lovely face. There we go. I mean, yeah, I said it. I mean, I just can't even hardly put into words, ironically, how extraordinary that was. how it all stuck together, hung together, and that you're on the edge of your seat within about a minute and a half or 2 minutes into it. And then you get further on the edge of your seat as it goes along. And you've got a couple of benevolent spirits. The snapping turtle does end up giving her a ride. And then the vulture, of all things, she picks a vulture, not an eagle. So there's the sort of terror of what the vulture is going to do to the little bird. And there are 7 of them flying around, but one grabs the bird and takes the bird back to the nest. Drops the bird in the nest. What a great visual as well. Doesn't just go in and put the bird in the nest, drops the bird into the nest. Everything in this was extraordinarily perfect in the way it was expressed. The linear conveyance of it. It's just, I mean, really, frankly, I was sitting here thinking, is there anything this girl can't do? She's so imaginative and can put, a lot of times with imagination, I'm a writer also, a lot of times with imagination, it can go off into digressions, it can go off into different territories, it branches off, and you forget where you started. Grace has an amazing ability to maintain a thread, to maintain what it is she is trying to get across. She is stupendous at that. That takes really a genius ability. It really does. I can say that. I've been doing it for a living for a long time. It takes genius to be able to do that. Amazing. I love this. Thanks, Mike, for letting me know about this. I sure appreciate it. And wow. This is one reason why I started Patreon, like I said a while ago. I want to put these kinds of things up, these gems. I want to put these kinds of gems up that don't really belong on a music channel. And this was such a joy. So I look forward, please, I look forward to y'all's comments on this. And let me know if I missed the metaphor, if you think I did, or if you think it goes further than that, less than that, or something else. Let me know what you think. And I'll look forward to that. Yeah. All right. Y'all take care of yourselves. I'll catch you soon. Bye now.